be kind enough to tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, what was life like in that area and at that time, and how did you end up in Strathcona County?
Well, I was born in Winnipeg, and we lived in a development that was called Woodhaven Park, which was really part of St. James. And it was a very lovely rural type of settlement, although it was small lots, but it was by itself, and it was isolated from any commercial activity. So I went to school there from grades 1 to, I believe, 4, 1 to 3, 1 to 4. And, you know, those were the hard times in the 30s. And my father worked for IBM, but along came a Dutch company by the name of Berkel and offered him a better situation, so we packed it up and came to Edmonton. And it was a long drive from Edmonton, from Winnipeg, I should say, to Edmonton. I'd never been on. And there were the 2 girls in the back seat with one Dalmatian dog by the name of Pepper, and Mom and Dad in the front. And it took forever to get here. And we stayed at a place called the Rosebery Hotel, which no longer exists. And we looked for a place to rent. And we found it in the West End on 126th Street and 190, 110th Avenue. So we settled in, and I went to Westmount School, which, by the way, is going to celebrate its 100th anniversary this fall. And I went there, and then I went on to West Glen and finished up at the U of A. Fortunately for me, my best friend, Blanche Friedrichsen, left to become the supervisor, or I don't know if she was called supervisor of school libraries or library consultant for Strathcona County. And so she had left, and she was having a marvelous time. And I was getting a little bit uneasy about staying at the Edmonton Public. And she was offered the position of provincial library supervisor. And she phoned me up and she said, apply for my job. And I did. And that's how I got into the county of Strathcona. And along the way, I met a gentleman who his family had a farm in the Ardrossan area, and I met him through my senior library clerk in the circulation department, who was his cousin. And we married, and I moved out to Ardrossan and took over the position of the school library. And I stayed there and enjoyed it very much. However, there was a group, I believe under the auspices of the Recreation Department. And Sally Stewart was one of the counselors. And Doug Irwin, I believe, was the head person. And he was wanting a library to be started, and so they developed a committee that was going to take care of this. Excuse me. And the county council was not too keen because they were going to have to spend money, and I'm sure they had other obligations. However, in the Library Act of that time, it said, in effect, that if 1/10 of the population signed a petition, the council, municipal council, had to set up a library. And it went through. And I'm so glad that in your book here for the anniversary, the, let's see, 2012, pardon me, you have copies of that, because I understood the petition got destroyed. I can remember speaking to one of the supervising persons at the county, and I said, well, where did that petition go? It really should have been put in the archives. And he was still angry about this, and he said, well, they got what they wanted, so why do they need the evidence?
Just in case.
Yeah, just in case. But anyway, I thought it had been destroyed, so I was glad to see that it had been found.
Yeah.
And So there I was, still school library consultant, having a wonderful time doing puppet shows and storytelling and all kinds of delightful things. And doing bibliography, book selection lists by the thousands. So they said, oh, Heather Bell, you just go over and help them with this library that they want.
And that would be the Citizens Committee still at this point? Or?
No, that was the head, commissioner.
Okay, so with the county commissioner?
The county commissioner, Mr. Hawkins, said, you better see what this volunteer group is doing. And so I could stop them, I'd like to mention the names of that first board. If I know some of them, and some of them I don't know. I mean, I've forgotten, is what I'm saying. Let's see if I can find that. If I can find the picture. Yes, now let me see. J.D. Morrow, Heather Bell, Jeff Allett, Bill Marshall, Margaret Osbaldeston, and Alice Lee. That was the board.
That was the board, okay.
And you see, Jeff and J.D. were on the municipal council.
Okay.
So they were going to...
And were they really heartfelt and supporters?
Jeff was very much, he liked history. He was very much pro-library. J.D. was a little bit questioning the whole thing. I was sort of interested in this group and what they were going to do. And Margaret Osbaldeston, as I say, was very pro, and so was Alice Lee and Jeff. So that, and Bill. So, I had a good board to work with. They were just great. And we met regularly, I believe, at Salisbury High School.
And you were just acting as a consultant at that point?
Yes, I was a consultant. We were having the Canadian Library Association conference in Winnipeg, and everybody was supposed to apply for the job at that time. So people across Canada could meet the board and be interviewed.
So the board was going to Winnipeg to the conference.
That's right, to do this great interview. And of course, I think there were maybe 2 other people who applied, and one was a brilliant librarian from Calgary, and I thought, oh, he'll get it. Not a chance for me. Anyway, I trotted off and went to the interview, all very formal, as though I'd never met these people before.
Right, exactly.
And I think it was very fortunate. The gentleman from Calgary dropped out. Now, I don't know why, but he did become the librarian for the Calgary Public Library system, and he may have been told, oh, don't do that, this is coming up, there's an offer, and of course it would be much more to his liking to stay in Calgary. So anyway, I applied, as I say, and I was accepted. Well, where were they going to put me? Because
you're a consultant, there's no library yet.
No.
I mean,
and the old municipal library for the county on, let's see, I think it was 81st Avenue, just off White Avenue.
So the county library was in Edmonton.
Well, it was organized there. The county building, the county administrative building, was in Edmonton at that time. It was next to the Legion.
Oh, I know exactly where that is.
All right. Yeah. They're having a hard time. So I started doing my ordering, and that was fine, but we put in extra shelves. We did all kinds of things to give me space to start processing. And of course, we had to leave space for the school people, the school library supervisor who was coming on to replace me. Fortunately, they decided, this was the time, and I think this is the reason, is Edmonton wanted land, and it wanted it from Strathcona County. And the county felt it was strategic for them to move out of Edmonton so they could defend their position better as the administrative body for the county. So off we went, and they decided to build the county center, the county hall, and they gave space there. And I think it was somewhere, I know I asked for 32,000 square feet, and I think I got 17,000 or something like that. It wasn't enough, but anyway, I was very fortunate. The architect was Hemingway. And
Peter Hemingway?
Yes, Peter Hemingway. And so we got along very well, and we really agreed on everything. I think I would have liked a bit more color, but I had done designing of libraries for the school system over the years, and he and I had worked together, and he thought I wasn't too bad. It took longer. We were supposed to open, I think, in '76, but the building, we had very rainy seasons in there, and they didn't get ahead with the building as fast as they expected. And I can remember when we were transferring the books from that health unit over here, we brought them across in boxes. Well, we were up to our ankles in mud. We took our shoes off and walked through the mud. Well, you couldn't do anything. I mean, you weren't going to ruin your shoes.
No.
And a lot of us wore high heels. As time went on, I hired Kathy Pine to be the children's librarian, so she took over the selection and the general organization of the children's department. And I stayed with the adult and the adult books, fiction and nonfiction, and the reference books. But it was great to have Kathy. And as I say, I was going along acquiring people.
But she was your first kind of...
She was the first professional librarian. I hate to say that, professional librarian, as though there's unprofessional librarians. And what are they up to? Yes, and let's see, a man, Robert Hamilton, I think his name was, and he was the head cataloger.
Okay.
Inc. Ellen Weinmeier became the head of the circulation department.
Do you need more water?
Yeah, too bad it's not gin.
I'll remember that for next time. A little splash of gin.
The cameras are on again.
Oh, they are? Yeah. We might have to end with that.
All right, fine by me.
Because really, doesn't that say everything about Heather Brown's character? Too bad it didn't have a little gin in it. Thanks, Heather.
Leave that in.
Yeah, good stuff.
Because the people who know me will just collapse with laughter.
Exactly. I like that. I like that personal touch. You
And
get to know the real person.
Yes, now you know I'm not shy.
No.
Thank you very much. It's been a lot of fun.
No.